They vanished into the trees, not to hide, but to fight, to resist, to become legends. They were the Forest Brothers, Latvia's secret warriors. In 1940, the Soviet Union occupied Latvia under the shadow of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Within months, thousands of Latvians were arrested, deported, or executed. But that horror was only the beginning. In 1941, Nazi Germany swept in, driving out the Soviets, only to unleash their own terror. Jews were massacred. Civilians were enslaved. Then, in 1944, the tide turned again, and the Soviets came back. But this time, Latvia didn't wait to be conquered. Instead, they disappeared into the woods. From 1944 onward, thousands of Latvians formed a shadow army known as the Forest Brothers. Some were former soldiers from the Latvian Legion. Others were farmers, students, and teachers. Ordinary people drawn together by one cause: freedom. They left behind their homes, their families, and their names. They lived in dugouts beneath the snow. They slept with their rifles. They listened to radios for news from the outside world. Hoping, always hoping, armed with stolen Soviet rifles, grenades, and their knowledge of the land, the Forest Brothers launched a fierce and relentless guerrilla campaign. They attacked outposts under the cover of darkness, sabotaged railway lines and supply routes, killed informants and collaborators. And just like that, they vanished. The Soviets, enraged and humiliated, unleashed a brutal counterattack. The KGB infiltrated villages. Entire families were deported to Siberia for merely offering food to the partisans. Spies were sent into the forests, pretending to be new recruits, only to betray entire camps from within. Captured Forest Brothers were tortured, paraded through towns as warnings, then shot or hanged. Still, they kept fighting. They communicated through handwritten messages. They formed councils, codes, and underground newspapers. In some regions, Forest Brother units operated like full-scale militias, training, organizing, and surviving for years. One by one, their camps were discovered, their leaders killed, their weapons dwindled, but their spirit never broke. Some of the last known Forest Brothers were discovered still hiding in the 1980s, decades after the resistance had faded from public memory. These men had never surrendered. They lived in silence, waiting for the moment Latvia would rise again. And in 1991, it finally did. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Latvia declared its independence. Crowds filled the streets. Flags were raised once more. And the names of the Forest Brothers were no longer whispered in fear, but spoken with pride. They were no longer bandits. They were heroes, warriors of the wild, guardians of Latvian freedom. Today, monuments stand in their honor. Museums preserve their rifles, uniforms, and letters. The bunkers still remain, silent testaments to their sacrifice. The Forest Brothers were more than soldiers. They were symbols of resistance, of hope, of a nation that refused to die. They fought without glory. They died without fame. But they gave Latvia something priceless: a second chance at freedom. So the next time you walk through a quiet forest in the Baltics, listen closely, because the wind might still carry their footsteps, and the trees still remember their names.